Yeah, I mean, right now, I would say that your current jail is probably at its life term.
Well, I
30.
think if we built a new jail tomorrow, by the time we got into the expansion, that this jail would be 25 years old.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it happen too many times, no matter how hard you plan, that you open a jail and in 6 months you are full. And I don't want to see you guys back in that same situation a year from now if you decide to build a 144 bed option going, okay, we just built one, we just got done, and we already are almost at capacity, you know, in 6 months.
Well, I like the idea, and I think you scratch the surface as far as I'm concerned, as far as taking a look at some statistical data, but at the same time, I don't think it's went nearly far enough, only because it just doesn't, you know, you really haven't looked at the whole justice system. I like the idea of afterwards, if you're gonna build something, then look at it afterwards, but
Yes.
it just doesn't, I just looked this up today, Indiana Department of Corrections, let's say Boone County, which is bigger than we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're sending 107. Dearborn County sends 259 this 2011. You know,
Well,
what's the root cause of that? And that's really what I'd like to get to, because if we don't get the root cause of it, whether it be, you increase, and I know I've heard a lot of people say that maybe the municipality is close to such as Cincinnati, but this Boone County is right next to Indianapolis. So I think, I like the idea of doing some analysis and assessment. Is there a jail overcrowding problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is it because, we really don't know what the root cause of it is?
Well, part of it is because your location. I mean, you're right at 2 state lines, very easy access from 3 states, which if you start to look at like Clark County and Lake County and northern Indiana, you'll start to get that same thing with Louisville and Chicago. That's part of it. I would guarantee you the casino was part of it. I mean, I bet you could look at the dates of when the casino opened and watch the jail population, and it goes up consistent with when that happened.
Yeah, the only other thing, the one thing about the jail, because I know it's one of the things that a lot of individuals brought in jail, because the casino is supposed to, increase it somewhat. And I understand anytime there's tourism, you're gonna have somebody come out of town, but if you look at that, the projections as far as tourism, I know that, I think it was Barnes and Thornburg come in one time several years back, excuse me, and said they expected it to go down some. Now, I'm sure that eventually that'll tailor off, but when they put the new casino over in Ohio, I'm sure that's gonna cut back on attendance over here. So, that's something else we need to take a look at.
Yes.
Just like Terry said, when we look at something in general, we have to look at all aspects of it, not just necessarily safety. Obviously, that's the most important thing, but you gotta figure out if we're gonna build something that is more than a lot of people can afford and on their taxes, and we don't, then there's just happen. I mean, that's one of those things that.
Well, the reason I said that I think that you would have at least 300, I know that you have 50 people that are pre-trial on home detention right now because there's no place to put them. So in theory, those people should be, if you had beds, they would be there. So I mean, you're automatically at 305 today if you had a place to put them.
When I looked at the jail inmate rosters, the numbers are consistent. We incarcerate anywhere from 60 to 80 people out of state, out of county at all times. So that number's been consistent. So our location plays a big part.
And that may, with casinos open in other places, that may go down to some degree, but I mean, you can't project what that would be. You hope it does, but
Well, they have projected
it doesn't.
They have projected it, and it went from 20 to 60% now. That's a pretty big variable.
Exactly.
So eventually someone that's gonna.
Which is kind of why I gave you some ranges from 8%, which I think is minimum, to 15, which would be high. But you need to see what differences even those small changes make.
But I've always liked a comprehensive evaluation of the judicial prosecutorial system to see if sentencing's exactly where the rest of the state is, and a comparative analysis of those other counties that are similar to us. And I know there's other counties that have gambling books, and there's other counties that have tourists. Lake County's one of those ones I was just looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's right here, it gets huge populations. I don't really want to be like Lake County, but, if you look at some of those doing it counties around Indianapolis. I think those are
Okay.
things that we need to take a look at. I think that's exactly where I would like to see. And I hate to say it, but the beginning of this project, it was $44 million. And the way I looked at it, and I certainly want to apologize to any car salesman in here, because it's like going to a car dealership and say, what kind of car you want to sell me, not what kind of car do I need. And that's where we started. I think we're a lot closer than we used to be. I think there is a jail overcrowding problem, but I don't know that it's just because of our increase in population. We had a huge increase for a short amount of time, like a lot of places did. While the economy was booming, now we haven't, it's hard to find a development site for residential homes, so that's being utilized. So with that, and you just never know what's gonna come out of it. I like the idea that we're looking at this, because I think it should have been looked at from the very beginning. And I know there's been several times that we've asked, and I know I've asked Tom. There was Maximus there for a while, and there's this company out of California who's done things all the way from, but they don't build jails. They don't engineer, design jails. That's why I like an independent evaluation, somebody that hasn't looked at these things before, and it's not, doesn't have anything tied to it.
Right.